today. We're talking about the $100 million playbooks, the $100 million launch from Alex Hormozi. Did you catch the 16-hour live stream on that, man?
Can't say I stuck around for all 16 hours, but I definitely watched a few. And damn, does that man like crazily still have a voice at the end of that?
That's
I don't know
crazy.
how he does it. Dude, I talked for 3 hours and then like the fourth hour, I'm like...
The voice starts to get a little bit deeper and stuff. Personally, bro, I watched the first hour and 15 minutes.
Me too.
Because I think after the first hour, there was definitely a kind of pivot, a change in the nature of the event. And the rest I caught up with after the fact. I think perhaps we start with the event itself, which is live streaming, big in-person events, workshops seem to be the meta. If your goal is to drive conversions of some events, some kind of form, there's just something about being live on a call for an hour rather than kind of self-checkouts, either like through community or something. So, I mean, Mr. Beast did it in his big fundraise. Hormozi's doing it. I know even like Daniel Priestley does this. Everyone at the top of the game in the education space seems to land on this pinnacle of live event. So I think that's probably a good place to start and think about why and what do we think about that?
Yeah, somebody that sold several $1 million of information product now, it just continuously blows my mind the degree to which you can show up live for like a 30-minute period. And then it's almost like you stockpiled dry tinder with your advertising the entire time. And then you just like get a match and just light it the hell up in like that 30-minute period. So, you know, like just to be clear, it's not that he just showed up and did this one thing and then now he made however many millions of dollars, probably over $100 million or whatever. He's been building up to it for the better part of the last 3 months. Some might say the last 4 or 5 years. But it just always blows my mind how much human beings just want that experience. Like they want live. We could go into the tactical reasons why live experiences are the best. I mean, obviously there's just a massive sense of urgency. That's really big.
I think that's really well said. The biggest takeaway I think is very well for everybody. And I've had this myself. Like I did a annual campaign. I made like $19,000 in 24 hours from one single post, right? Literally. But the reason for this is you build up goodwill. The concept of what Alex does is decided that goodwill compounds faster than anything, right? So what I see what Alex did, he kind of collected on the goodwill he's developed over the past few years. And I think, there may need to be at least 3 to 5 years for the rebuild because the sales were quite heavy on that. But the idea is that you build up goodwill and then you capture it once. But what's interesting, what Alex did is the cadence. Most people they plant, they add value, they grab, they add value, they grab. What Alex has done is try to add value for a very long period of time and do all his collecting in one go to try and maximize that. So the idea of being the longer the runway, the larger the playing you off. So I thought that was good. At the end of it, I was like, friggin' hell. I think there was the you could buy the books in advance, which is cool, but the levels of the ascension pathway of the products you could buy, there was the 5K gift, the gift. Then there was a 20K super gift that you could buy. So it's like you really hit all the different levels. And I was like, dude, you can do this once, maybe a year or so after that. So I was impressed at the extent, bro, of the sales. I know one of my buddies bought the 25K upsell for the I don't know, I think Alex Hormozi in your pocket or something. Like he'll come to your house and I don't know, put your shoes on. So I don't know what that includes or not, but you get acquisition.com in your pocket or something.
That's cool. Yeah, another buddy of mine got 10,000 books. And I was like, 10,000 books, really? And he's like, yeah, we bought 10K books. I was like, Jesus.
Fucking hell.
That's a lot of freaking books, man. That is really the cashing in of the goodwill, if you think about it. It's like rewarding the person for obviously his massive impact on all of us, kind of the next entrepreneurial generation, I would say. And we made so much more money than I think any of us will ever pay to Alex Hormozi, if I'm just being honest. Both in terms of the tactics, but also just the inspiration of seeing this giant hulk of a man, this walking erection, just go through and just fucking print money. But then, on top of that, there's the association now. When you do something like this, you're now associated with Alex Hormozi, right? And I think that was a big part of the tactical strategy. It's I'm not going to buy one book. I'm going to buy 200 books. I'm going to buy 1,000 books. I'll buy 10,000 books. And then what I'm doing is now I'm a distributor of his books.
Which is genius because they now get your email.
Yeah.
Because now I've got to enter my information. So it's clever like that. It's clever like that. And so it's like, it was funny. I mean, like, because I bought some books ahead of time and I was giving them out and stuff like this. But it's like, what was that like? The tulip craze in Denmark, do you know, like it's often compared to like Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin like blew up and stuff, and like everyone wanted these tulips, and then all of a sudden there's so many. Like, I did wonder, like, has the number of books being sold exceeded like available demand for it? So it's almost kind of like the number of books flooding the marketplace now. Like, I had a couple of people say to me, like, if you know anyone that needs books, let me know, type of thing. It's very clever, dude. Distribution model is very, very impressive. So I thought that was really clever. The positioning of it as a gift was, like, let's call it what it was, an interesting psychological lever to pull. Like, I think that's a fair comment to make, that it's framed as a gift plus 16 bonuses. I'd say, 99% of the purchasers were probably more interested in the bonuses than the gifting per se.
Yeah,
so that was interesting positioning. But what I was really impressed with is the amount of thought he put into how you were going to position everything that you were selling.
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes sense, because when you have no distribution, the most important thing you can do is just get distribution as quickly as possible. But he's probably receiving diminishing marginal returns on effort applied to new distribution growth. Because, if you look at his growth rate, he probably capitalized on a big chunk of the available business market over the course of the last few years. And now he's only getting new entrants. Everybody knows who Alex Hormozi is, even if they're not subscribed to him. So when you're at that point, the most important thing is like, okay, I have all this juice. How do I squeeze it like as effectively as possible?
Absolutely.
So he's probably spent like, months, if not like years, just thinking about like the most tactical way to do like upsells, downsells, position things as bonuses, position like ascension ladders, tie in his pre-existing previous products, do things like school upsells with like the 3-month trial that we've seen. We've seen like 50,000 more people get into school in just the last like couple
That's insane. It's actually wild.
It's bonkers. So
it shows, doesn't it? It's like long-term strategy thinking. Most people think on a week-by-week time horizon. They don't think about what's my 2 to 5 year strategy.
And think about the amount of money that he's probably made school as well. I mean, this is a free trial association thing, right? So let's say 80% of them don't actually stay. That's still 20%. Previously, there were 50,000 or 60,000 schoolers, and now there's like 120,000 probably by the time that this
has it actually almost tripled? I didn't realize it was that big.
Like, let me just jump on right now and just double check. I don't want to be. Yeah, it's almost 130,000 right now, right? So it went from like 55 a few weeks ago to like 130,000. So
damn.
So he is a part owner in school. So his equity value, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so cool. It's so cool.
It's compounded benefit, dude. Yeah.
How much money do you think he made? Let's just get down to brass.
Well, for sure,
directly,
at least $75 to $100 million, ironically, in like book sales. And then he'll get so if you think about it, right, he'll get 40% of all the $9.
Yeah.
So if you say 30%, so we said like, I don't know, how many have joined? Like, call it like 100K for simple math, right?
Sure.
100K. Let's say 35%. That's 35,000 people paying $9 a month. So he's going to get 40% of that. So call that like $3.80 times by 35,000. You're looking at $133,000 a month.
Just from
and
that.
Then you're going to have a certain number of those that then go to the $97, right? So even if you call that like 10%, then go. I mean, then you got 3,500 paying $97. So
okay, around 800 people took his $3,000 a month offer as well. That's $2.4 million a month.
800 people. Months. Wow.
Yeah. So
and what was the offer with that? That was like,
oh geez, honestly, I don't remember. He had a lot of offers. Let's just put it that way.
Damn. Yeah.
But I mean,
but that was a monthly recurring offer. That was.
Sorry, say that one more time.
That was that like a X amount of dollars per month, or like a one-off?
Yeah. It was $3K a month. About 800 people took it, I think. So that's like 2.4 mil a month times 6 months. That's like 14 or 15 mil. So he has the direct book sales, which I think were like, probably like 75 mil or something like that.
Yeah.
He had like let's say 15 mil in that. So that's 80 mil. He had, I imagine, like some big ascensions that like we're just not going to know about. People buying the 30K and the 100K, stuff like this, as well as people signing up to like acquisition.com workshops. And then he had like the school revenue edition as well. I think it's safe to say he probably made like $100 million directly.
At least.
And then like in terms of the future value that he's driven, is probably like another $50 to $100 million over the course of the next couple of years. I would guess, just off the top of my head.
No, I think that's really fair. And it's also, like you said, like platform value of the school.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, man,
I mean,
so
it's
many
clever.
businesses, hundreds of
It's
millions.
very clever.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is like, how do you get to be in a position to do this? I think one of the things, because, you know, Nick, you and I both been at school games. We met Alex, we met Sam, we met those guys. One of the interesting things, it seems like the higher you climb up the mountain, no pun intended, because I know there's Lego's a mountain, the greater the return on investment you get per unit of input. So, for example, when you and your entrepreneurial journey go from making 0 to 10K, it's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Then when you go from 10 to 100, it's like, well, that didn't feel like 10 times the effort. That felt like you're getting disproportionately good returns on your time investment. And this was actually one of the conversations I had with Alex at the time, was like, how do you find it when you went from that to, you know, 100 million, whatever it is? And his view on it was that it only gets easier. And I would agree with that, because the hardest skill set really is that first like 90% to get you to your first like $10,000 a month. Then it's just kind of fixing slightly smaller problems in terms of, am I in a scalable business? How do I leverage? What's my constraining factor and stuff like that? So I think with Alex, I think if you're somebody who wants to make $100 million doing this, maybe, okay, make $1 million first. But if you want to make $200 million, this sort of stuff, my takeaway from this, Nick, is it's absolutely about distribution and reach, and how many people you've helped do what. And then only when you've, it's value creation and plus value capture, right? You can do the value creation bit, but if you're crap at capturing the value, you're never going to hit that figure. You've got to be exceptional at adding the value and reach. Then you also need to be exceptional about capitalizing it. And I think what we saw there was a level 10 execution on value capture.
Yeah, I would agree. No, I mean, you know, I'm sure there are ways that he could have made it even better, but like, this is like,
We'll bump him down a few levels. Level 8, level 9. We're not get too crazy of ourselves.
Yeah. But this has got to be, you know, and if we're honest, it's probably like the most tremendously well executed info product sale of all time. Like, can you think of a better one? I can't.
No, I don't think so.
And what I like about it is it's like, it's showing in addition to telling, right? The cool thing about Alex, which he does a lot, is he will tell you how he's selling you while he's selling you. And this is something that I think I've organically picked up from him over the last little while. But he will tell you how he is selling you. So I'm doing this, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to like me and trust me. And then maybe at some point in the future, you're going to want to sign up for Blow, right? Like the goodwill you get from that is crazy. But then like this book launch was like that, like showing you the value of the book while he sold you the book, you know,
100%,
which is the coolest shit ever. Like, so this is almost like, it's almost like a self-liquidating offer insofar that like, it's like a self-proving offer.